Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I am Brad Hughesby, and I'm joined with Ben Niewanner. You might have seen our Villanova-Michigan preview a few days ago when the two squared off in the Sweet 16. Well, Michigan's gone, Villanova prevailed, and they have made it all the way to the Final Four. We're watching their game film against Houston. But the highlight of this video, or the main topic of today's video, is more discussing who's going to win and the other game just as well as the Kansas Villanova game. This isn't Villanova centered. This is Kansas Villanova, Duke UNC. We're talking about all four. Ben and I are both going to share who we think will win, what we think will happen, stuff like that. We're keeping it simple and hopefully entertaining as well. So if you enjoy what you see, make sure you drop a like, drop a comment. That is greatly appreciated. Also subscribe. But I'll start with Ben. Ben, give me your predictions for this year's Final Four.
All right, so we got, before my predictions, just a brief little intro here. We had a crazy tournament, absolutely wild tournament. We had a 15 seed in the Elite Eight, which, I mean, that might never happen again. It's once in a lifetime type thing. And we had a bunch of low seeds win. But at the end of the day, the Final Four, the big dogs ate. We got 4 blue bloods. I was rooting so hard against this Final Four. Like, every game, I wanted the other team to win in the Elite Eight, and it just didn't happen a single time. So we've got, at the end of the day, we've got a really high-quality Final Four. You got Nova, North Carolina, Duke, and Kansas, and you can't complain too much, but from an underdog's perspective, that's pretty rough. Nonetheless, that's what's going to happen, and I think it's going to be great. I think the Duke-UNC game, especially, I don't know if that's the early or later game on Saturday.
It's the later game. 7:49 tip, I believe, Central Time, 8:49
the
Eastern.
prime time one, I think. And that's going to be crazy. That's going to get a ton of ratings for CBS.
It's probably the best Final Four game in a long time.
Yeah, it is. It has to be. It's Krzyzewski's possibly last game. UNC's on a tear. I think that I know Brad's going to differ with me here, but I think UNC's playing lights out basketball this tournament, just ridiculously high quality, other than like the final 10 minutes of Baylor, where they did look shaky. But beyond that, they beat Marquette by 30-something. They were killing Baylor, and then they killed St. Peter's, and they took care of UCLA, who is a really tough team in the tournament. UCLA could have won it all if they'd beat North Carolina, I think. But North Carolina took care of them, and I think North Carolina's guard play is huge right now. You got 2 experienced players, Caleb Love, RJ Davis, and then you've got Armando Bacot, who's like sneakily one of the best players in college basketball this year. He's put on a double-double tear. He gets rebounds. He's a great defensive player. And there's just veteran leaders on this team. Duke, it's got some veterans, but its best players are freshmen, like normal. You got Paulo Banchero, Trevor Keels, AJ Griffin. You've got a lot of freshmen leading the way. And I just don't know if that recipe is going to win a game against a more veteran North Carolina team that has looked like the better team for most of the tournament. Although Duke played insanely well against Arkansas. Before that game, Duke's been a little iffy this tournament, and that's not taking anything away from the run they've had. But I think North Carolina's been the more complete team this year. That's my personal opinion. And Coach K could pull up the upset. I guess it's not even upset, but I think Duke's been the weaker team in the tournament. So I'm going to give North Carolina a nod in that one. And then for the other game, or actually, Brad, you want to talk about Duke, North Carolina?
Sure, I'll touch on it quickly. I have Duke. I have the Blue Devils. I just think Coach K's swan song. They're playing basketball the right way at the right time. They've really come together these past few games, and they were lights out against Arkansas, like Ben said. They look just so dominant. Paulo, he's a freshman, but he looks like he's a senior. He just plays the game the right way. So smart. His awareness is just next level. I love the way he plays basketball. He's that edge about him. He winked at the camera during the end of the game. That was just special. I just think this Duke team is different. Other than Paulo, you have Jeremy Roach, you have AJ Griffin, a bunch of guys
Williams,
like that.
We should mention
Mark Williams, absolutely. Theo John, the Marquette transfer. I think Duke would have really benefited from another transfer. I'll be completely honest with you, but I know these recruits want their playing time early. That's the Duke way, but I don't know. I just think Coach K's swan song, it's all coming together. They're playing UNC in the Final Four. I don't know. I think this is just the perfect storytell ending for him. And Coach K, let's be honest, he hasn't really been coaching this year. It's been John Shire. Coach K can't even really walk. The back is beat. He's taken that.
This had to be his last year.
Oh yeah, I think I don't really think he should be coaching. His energy's done. He's heading back home, and he's probably gonna just relax for the rest of it. But yeah, he's beat. I mean, but John Shire's just done an incredible job coaching. He's coached this team, and he's done a great job. I think this is a great introduction for him as well. And these players understand what's going on. They know how special it is. They saw the 200 plus alumni come back to watch their last home game. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Really quickly, but Irish trending, not college basketball related, but thoughts on Dante after his visit. So Dante Moore, I'm actually on here with a Michigan fan, Irish trending. So Ben, my co-host here, knows all about Dante Moore. Dante Moore had a phenomenal visit. I actually think he's going to take some officials. Don't be super upset about that. Notre Dame's whole philosophy is they don't want quarterbacks taking visits after they commit. Jackson Arnold, if you remember him, one of our older targets, he wanted to take some more visits. And I'm not saying he was going to commit to Notre Dame, but Notre Dame was definitely the leader in his recruitment before he took back-to-back weekends of Oklahoma visits, and then he committed to Oklahoma. But Dante Moore, I like ND for him still. I think this visit only improved that. If I could have a crystal ball, I would. I'd probably put it at a confidence of 8. I'm definitely very confident.
Jeez, man.
And yeah, he just wants – no, I'm extremely confident as we see Justin Moore tear his Achilles. But Dante Moore, I like ND, absolutely. But watch out for Oregon and LSU. I think those are the two schools really in the mix, and he wants to get out for officials to both of those schools. So just watch out for that. But I still expect him to commit probably by the end of June, mid-June at the latest, probably. June at the latest. But yeah, Ben, let's get back to basketball. Thank you for the question, Irish Trending. But let's head to the Villanova game, shall we, Ben? I'll let you talk first because I was just talking. Go ahead, Ben.
All right. We got Nova, Kansas after Brad's brief exodus into football recruiting, which I know is what a lot of you guys like to hear about. But let's talk about Nova, Kansas. We just saw Nova best player, not best player, but one of their second best guard, I should say, second best player probably, Justin Moore, tore his Achilles, right near the end of that Houston game. Pretty brutal injury, really unlucky for him. The game was nearly in hand by the time that happened. So it's just really unfortunate. Those type of injuries, really tough to recover from. And I don't know, Brad, am I lagging right now? Or is that just the screen?
A little bit. That's just the screen. There we go. That should be better.
Okay. So yeah, Justin Moore's down. I honestly would have had Kansas winning this game even without Justin Moore's injury. I just think they're slightly more balanced as a team, both offensively and defensively. I think Nova's a little defensive heavy right now. And I know the stats don't back that up. I know their offense is rated as one of the best in college basketball. But this tournament has been kind of ugly for them on the offensive side of the ball. The threes aren't really falling. Justin Moore's injury, that's going to really hurt them. They need big shots to beat Kansas, and he's one of their best shot makers, probably their best shot maker other than maybe Colin. But I don't know. I don't like that, especially with already a super thin lineup. They had like a 6-man lineup, maybe 7-man. It's going to be, you're going to get Chris Arcidiacono playing, Brian Antoine playing. Those guys, you really don't want them playing too many minutes, but they're going to have to because you have no other options. So I think Kansas just has more options. They've got some good veterans. They got Ochai Agbaji, David McCormick, Christian Brown, some good guards, some good bigs, and they've got a good supporting cast. They're a 1 seed. They're the best team left in the tournament if you just look at resume. I think they would get this win, especially with an undermanned Nova.
So I differ. I think Justin Moore would have been enough for Villanova to beat Kansas. Now, I think Villanova would have lost to whoever they play, UNC or Duke. But I'm not crazy about Kansas. Very talented team, no doubt. But Colin Gillespie, Ben, I actually want to say something else. I do not think Colin Gillespie is one of Villanova's best shot makers, shot takers. I don't know how you would say that. He doesn't get the bucket to the bottom of the rim very often. He loves to distribute. He's that typical point guard, Chris Paul-esque, if you would. He loves to distribute to his teammates. Villanova's known for the extra pass. They're known for the gritty defense. They're known for transitions, for quick transitions, good plays, amazing coaching. Jay Wright, in my opinion, is the best coach in college basketball. Just the way the program is set up. Colin Gillespie, you look at Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is the best point guard in recent Villanova history just on the fact that he could make shots. No matter who it was against, he could make shots. And that was why I think he won National Player of the Year. Now, Colin Gillespie is nowhere near as good as Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson has carved out a pretty nice career. As I turn on the Duke Arkansas game for you guys that want to watch, let me make it full screen and let me press play. Brian Arcidiacono, just like Colin Gillespie, he gives you major Arch vibes. And so I think losing Justin Moore is just critical because he makes shots, and Colin Gillespie now loses one more guy to get the ball to. And like you said, Chris Arcidiacono, Ryan's little brother, is just not fit to make those shots. Villanova was also very, very thin lineup-wise. I mean, they had a 6-guy rotation pretty much.
It was great. That's a huge weakness.
And that's what we had in 2016 and 2018. We were so deep, especially 2018. We had like 9 guys that were all.
You had a bench dude kill us. I mean,
Dante DiVincenzo. So this year, I mean, we have Colin at 1, Justin at 2. Caleb Daniels usually is the 6th man. We have Jermaine at 3. Slater at 4, and then Eric Dixon at 5. Sometimes they flip-flop. People kind of flip-flop, stuff like that. And then coming off the bench at 6 is Daniels. And Arch maybe plays a little bit. Demir would play a little bit at the start of the year. Trey Patterson a little bit. Longino a little bit. But, like, real contributors, I mean, you have 5 guys. Arcidiacono will have to play a little bit. But, like, guys like Eric Dixon, they're going to have to play the whole game. Guys like Brandon Slater's going to have to play a large chunk of minutes. You need a guy to step up like DiVincenzo if you want to have a shot. So I am a Villanova fan. I'm usually quite biased towards the Wildcats, but I'm ruling them out. I think they're going to get slapped pretty bad this weekend, to tell you the truth.
I just want to make a note. You said Gillespie's not a shot maker, but I'm not as avid of a Nova fan, but I think he's underrated. He can hit big shots. I mean, he in the Big East Championship, he hit like 2 or 3 huge threes against Creighton at the end of the game. Like,
very true.
So, I mean, he's definitely not Jalen Brunson. I don't think you can't expect your point guards to be Jalen Brunson. That's difficult. But like I think he's a better shot maker than even Arcidiacono was.
And you know where Jalen Brunson went to high school?
Where?
Stevenson.
Wow, I did not. I actually did know he was
suburbs
from
of Chicago. His dad played ball at Temple, so that's how he got interested in the Philly schools. Temple is one of his top schools. If you're playing basketball, you know Villanova's in a better spot than the Temple program is.
All right. So
should we touch on national championship?
Yeah, I think we should. So your national championship is Duke, Kansas, and mine is North Carolina, Kansas. You want to go first here?
Sure, I'll go first. I'm riding with Duke. I'm sticking with them. I have not watched a lot of Kansas. I said this in our last video, or maybe I've just said this privately to Ben, but I have legitimately watched 10 minutes of Kansas basketball. I watched some of their game against Miami when it was kind of in the blowout stage towards the end of the game. That's different. But I did think Miami was a good team, and Kansas put them down to dry, down to die. I don't know if that's an expression or not, but
it is. It is.
It is? All right. Well, yeah, not sold on Kansas. I know they have some good depth. They always have some good power forward and center play. Always got some tall dudes that can rebound the ball for you. Bill Self, I'm a huge Bill Self hater. I actually hate that guy. Left Illinois when they were in the middle of a dynasty to take a few more $1 million and play and coach down at Kansas. So I don't love Bill Self. And Coach K, I have a soft spot for. I do think Duke is just as good as Kansas from looking at the stats and whatnot and looking at their last couple games. But as you're watching right here, Duke is about to start to pull away. And I don't know. They're just special this year. So I'm riding with the Blue Devils.
Brad has Duke. I wouldn't be shocked. And I didn't even have Duke beating North Carolina, but I would not be shocked if Duke won it all. I honestly wouldn't be shocked.
I think if Duke made the national championship, there's no way they're losing. Would you agree, Ben? Duke is going to beat Kansas or Villanova.
Yeah, and here, give me 1 sec.
Yeah. So you go on intermission. Ben fixing something around. He's muted, but he'll be coming right back in a second.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, but yeah, like we're talking about, I think Duke could easily win it all. There's no doubt in my mind. I think everyone but Nova right now, just because Justin Moore's out, I just can't see Nova winning it all. But I mean, it could happen. I just think it's a 3-horse race right now between Duke, North Carolina, and Kansas, which 3 of the biggest blue bloods in the history of the sport. So I think it's very possible Duke wins it all, but I do think North Carolina gets them in that semifinal. Then I think it's Kansas's year. I know that's boring, and I know it's probably not what anyone wants to hear, but I just looking at it from a perspective of who makes the most sense to win this year. There hasn't been a path that's open for Kansas since 2008 when they beat Memphis in the final. I think Bill Self
2020 Kansas would have won.
and exactly. The COVID year destroyed them. I mean that was the best team in college basketball at like a decent margin that year. They were really good that year, and so I think Bill Self is a good enough coach to where he wants that second ring. He does not want to be stuck with 2008 as his only championship, especially for how talented Kansas has been and how dominant they've been for like the past 15 years that he's been there. They've won the Big 12 basically every year, and that's probably the best in college basketball. That's a ridiculous accomplishment.
Hey, ACC, Ben, they had 2 teams in the Final Four. The Big Ten had 9 teams in the tournament.
But
they
you're
had
going to tell me
0
right now
in the Elite Eight.
The tournament always does funky things. Last year, the Pac-12 went nuts in the tournament, and I don't hear anyone telling me that the Pac-12.
The MAAC had more teams in the Elite Eight than the Big Ten did.
And that's a fair comment. Big Ten definitely has been selling the bag when it comes to the tournament. I still think the Big Ten's a really strong conference, but it has to prove itself next year in the tournament because it's been 2 down years in a row after getting a lot of teams in. I will say Michigan's been quite good when it makes the tournament, so you can't really blame Michigan too much for that. That's kind of the rest of the teams in the Big Ten. But we're off topic now. Let's go back to why Kansas beats North Carolina. I think it's a combination of just fate. Kansas just being I just think they're a steady team this year. I think that's what's going to win it all. I think Agbaji's going to do well. I think their guards of Kansas can actually match up well with North Carolina's guards, and I think they have enough size.
The guard play is huge. When you look at Michigan in 2018, I was so worried as a Villanova fan because they had Xavier Simpson, who was just built for big games. They had Mo Wagner, who was dominant all throughout the tournament.
Jordan Poole
in the post. That point guard center combo is deadly. Davon Dotson and I forget the center's name in 2020 for the Jayhawks, but they were just dominant together.
Azubuike?
Yeah, Azubuike, I think. I think Duke has that. I think Paulo, he's not a true center. Mark Williams, you could say, I'm not sold on Mark Williams, but Paulo can take over. That's my whole rationale. I know we're going completely off topic because we're going back to mine, but I wanted to touch on that just because it's so important that you have guys that can take over. You have RJ Barrett for Texas Tech. Go ahead, Ben.
That's a good point. Like the big center or the big and wing combo, the big and guard combo is huge. Having one elite player at each position. And honestly, like North Carolina, I know I didn't even pick them, but North Carolina has
Armando Bacot, Love, and
and then Love has been unbelievable this tournament. He had a terrible freshman year. He was a 5-star, had a really down freshman year.
North Carolina St. Louis, Missouri.
He's picked it up in a big way, and he's showing. He's made some plays this tournament that is just NBA level stuff. Like I know he's not projected as
John Morant-esque. I'm like. He's looking like John Morant.
And he's hitting logo threes. He's making insane plays inside. I just combine that with Bacot and your point about having a great big man and having a great wing combo, like that's North Carolina in a nutshell right now. That's why they've gotten this far. I think I might have to change my pick to North Carolina just off of that, off of Brad's comment.
Can I say something, Ben, really quickly? Arkansas, yeah. I know we're watching this game, but Arkansas and Duke had the number 1 and number 2 classes in the 2022
really
247. Yeah, so
Duke's class is unbelievable.
Arkansas just landed a commit. His name's Anthony Black. He's a 5-star at the McDonald's All-American game. But he had the best commitment video I've ever seen in my life. Ben, I'll send it to you right now. But I actually was dying laughing. And so brother was like, "You were trash as a freshman." It was so funny. That's
what I will say is that Arkansas's Eric Musselman is just a really good coach. He was at Nevada when Nevada made the Sweet 16 with the Martin twins. And he was great there. He was an NBA coach back in the day. And now he's at Arkansas and he's recruiting really well.
Great recruiter. He's probably the best recruiting coach in the country.
And he's not just good at recruit. I think he's a great coach. I think he's actually a great coach. I think that's why Arkansas has so much success in the tournament. This past years, they've been an Elite Eight team. They got to take one more step, but I think they can with these recruiting classes. They have talent. I would love to be an Arkansas fan right now. I think it's one of the best spots in the country.
Absolutely.
But we're off topic a little, but yeah, I think Arkansas is in a great place. I also want to mention for next year, Duke's recruiting class is unbelievable. They've got some serious talent coming in. It's very much the #1 class in the country. So, yeah, I was watching the McDonald's All-American game. And Brad, you see that Nova? I can't remember the guy's name.
Cam Whitmore. Oh,
Yeah, he was going off. Yeah.
I mean, I think he'll stay 2 years. It's going to be a long time until Villanova has a one and done. But I think Cam Whitmore, if he has the freshman year I expect, I think he could be National Player of the Year if he stays for a sophomore, junior year. In my opinion, he's like Jermaine Samuels on steroids. And that's saying something because Jermaine Samuels has had, or not Jermaine Samuels, excuse me, Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges has done very, very well in the NBA.
Mikal Bridges has become a borderline all-star. I know that's crazy, but
yeah,
he's very good.
He fits well with the Suns, and he's a great defensive player, great team player, just a typical Nova player. And I think Ken Whitner can honestly be him and better. So, all right, we're 21 minutes in. I think that it's time for Ben and I to cut it.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for watching. We greatly appreciate it. Like and subscribe. We mentioned at the start, but it really helps us out. Ben and I greatly appreciate all the support. And that's it from us. Peace.